What made a huge difference for me was implementing the Pomodoro technique with my Slack usage. I work intensely for 25 minutes with notifications off, then take a 5-minute break to check messages. This structure reduced my daily Slack time by almost 40% while improving my response quality. By implementing these specific strategies, you transform from being constantly reactive to strategically responsive, allowing your brain the space it needs for deep, focused work again. News apps, the anxiety amplifiers. The Pomodoro technique might help you manage Slack, but what about that morning ritual of checking the news just to stay updated? This seemingly innocent habit might actually be the biggest drain on your mental energy without you even realizing it. News apps have perfected the art of keeping you engaged through a sophisticated understanding of your psychology, particularly your brain's negativity bias, which makes you 7 times more likely to click on bad news than good. And trust me, this isn't an accident. Remember when news used to be something you consumed at specific times? You'd watch the evening broadcast or read the morning paper, and then you'd be done until the next scheduled update. Those natural boundaries have completely disappeared with news apps. Now they're designed to be consumed endlessly, creating an always-on cycle of information that never lets you feel completely informed. These apps have transformed from being simple information sources into sophisticated anxiety-generating machines. The design teams behind these apps are obsessed with metrics like time on page, session length, and return rate. Their focus lies in keeping you engaged rather than well-informed. Let me share what happened to a colleague of mine. She started her day by checking a news alert about economic downturn predictions. What should have been a quick 2-minute check turned into 40 minutes of anxiety-inducing reading. By the time she arrived at her first meeting, she was distracted, pessimistic, and struggling to focus. A research study from the University of Michigan confirms this experience. Consuming negative news first thing in the morning affects cognitive functioning for the entire day. Just 3 minutes of negative news increases the likelihood of reporting your day as unhappy 6 to 8 hours later by 27%. The alert system triggers compulsive checking. A study from Nottingham-Trent University found that the average person checks their phone 85 times per day, with news alerts responsible for many of those checks. Each alert creates an artificial sense of urgency for information that rarely requires immediate attention. News apps deliberately exploit your brain's negativity bias. According to University of Cambridge research, headlines with negative words get clicked approximately 63% more often than positive ones. That's why you see disaster looms instead of situation improving, even when describing the same event. Researchers at McGill University found that participants who consumed only negative news for 1 week reported significantly higher levels of anxiety and sadness compared to a control group. The infinite scroll feature keeps you consuming beyond what you intended. Unlike a newspaper with a clear beginning and end, news apps never reach a natural stopping point. This creates what psychologists call a completion deficit. You never feel like you finished staying informed, so you keep scrolling. I'd open a news app just to check the headlines and find myself 30 minutes later reading about a celebrity scandal completely unrelated to my original purpose. The recommendation? Algorithms pull you deeper into engaging content rather than informative content. Harvard researchers found that frequent news checking creates attention residue. Thoughts about news stories linger and make it harder to focus on other tasks. This fragmentation of attention can reduce productivity by up to 40%. You're not only losing time directly spent on the app, but also effectiveness in everything else you do afterward. The neuropsychological impact is clear. News apps create anxiety, fragment attention, exploit negativity bias, and leave you feeling perpetually uninformed despite consuming more information than ever before. So what practical solutions can help? First, try deleting news apps completely from your phone. Replace them with a website bookmark that you check at designated times. When you must intentionally navigate to the news rather than just tap an icon, you're less likely to check it compulsively. If deletion feels too drastic, disable notifications for news apps. Research from Duke University found that participants who disabled news notifications reported a 47% decrease in overall consumption, without feeling less informed about important events. Another effective strategy is scheduling specific times for news consumption. I check news twice daily, once after completing my most important morning task and once before dinner. This scheduled approach gives you control rather than letting apps control you. Limiting news to 15 to 30 minutes total per day is typically enough to stay informed about what truly matters. Consider subscribing to weekly news magazines or daily email digests that summarize important stories. These curated sources often filter out sensationalism and focus on significant content. Remember that genuinely important news will find you through multiple channels. Your friends, family, or colleagues will mention it. You don't need constant vigilance to stay informed about what truly matters. Some people benefit from news fasting, taking complete breaks from news consumption. A study in the Journal of Behavioral Medicine found that participants who took a one-week break reported significantly lower anxiety and higher well-being, with effects persisting even after resuming consumption.